Wicket from MediaCorp News. This question is for DPM Teo. Among the 20 or so candidates, how many of them are ministerial caliber, and among them, how many of them are prime ministerial caliber?
I wish I knew the answer. All we can do is to try and bring together the best possible group of people that we can. And then among them, they will have to prove themselves, first of all, to their constituents and the people of Singapore. And then they will have to form a team and establish among themselves a comfort level between themselves. And from that, we believe that a leadership group will emerge. So I wish I knew the answer, but if I were to tell you the answer, I think you would think that I would probably be wrong. And you would be right, because no one knows the answer. But all we can do is to try and bring together the best possible team that we can offer to Singaporeans and help to nurture them so that we can assure ourselves of a good leadership team for the future to the maximum extent possible. There's another question back there.
Hi, Cassandra from Straits Times. This is for the three candidates. It seems quite clear that all of you are quite sure of how you want to effect change and make lives better for Singaporeans. But why did you choose the PAP over other parties to effect this change? Thank you.
Desmond, you want to go first? I'll give you a chance to go first.
For me, I guess it'll be a very easy one. I believe in the policies. I believe in the principles. And I'm a beneficiary of the system. Like I mentioned earlier, we went through tough financial times. Without a government, a strong, stable government, that was able to offer scholarship for me to study overseas, I probably would have to borrow money. My family would probably be in debt to put me through school. And for that, I'm grateful because there was suddenly a very trying time that when I had to decide whether that, hey, if I ever to fulfill my dream of going overseas, that would not have been possible without this government providing that kind of support, that kind of belief that its richest assets comes from its people and that is willing to put money to groom the future leaders.
Yeah.
I believe Singapore doesn't have small, no resources, as we all know. So what are the few advantages we have? And one key advantage is we move faster. So when we negotiate the free trade agreement, we move very fast, very decisive. The Americans that negotiate with us, against us, they are not in a hurry. And you can see that between Republicans and Democrats, they argue all the time about the merits and dismerit of free trade. But they have the luxury to go through that kind of debate. For us, we have to move. So I do believe in a small urban population, small city-state like us, we need strong, decisive government and a good government. And today I saw that in the PAP, and so I will join the PAP team.
China?
So I agree. Sorry, excuse me. I agree with my colleagues. I mean, essentially, I joined the PAP because I agree with the policy approaches. But I guess one of the main turning points for me was the time I spent in Radin Mas with Mr. Sam Tan. And what I saw in dealing with the underprivileged, as compared to some of my experiences in other places, was a system that intrinsically worked to reduce welfare dependency year on year, to uplift the population year on year. What I also saw was that this was an intentional, deliberate approach. It was a system that worked, but it was a system that required constant hard work to make it work. And over that time, the people that I met, I became convinced were serious, capable, committed people, committed to making the system work, committed to making the country work and run better and improve year on year. So there's a variety of things that convinced me, but a combination of the policies and the people that I've met.
DPM and candidates, the PAP has introduced its first batch today with several more to come. And of course, the opposition too has introduced its candidates, old and new. So what's your message to the electorate now that they get to see the candidates that the PAP will be introducing, and they already start to see the opposition's candidates? Thank you.
Well, perhaps I can wrap that. I can do that when I wrap up afterwards.
I'm
From Straits Times. This is for DPM Teo. In 2006, the candidates were introduced at the same time during March. Can we expect a similar timeline for this year towards the general elections?
Well, we will announce the rest of the candidates when we are ready to do so. Other questions?
This is actually for DPM and the two candidates from NTUC. I think we're expecting to see quite a few unionists in this year's slate. We've had some feedback from the ground that there's some worry that NTUC is very close to the government, we know that, but NTUC has defended Labour MPs as giving a voice to workers in Parliament. But at what point does it become PAP MPs before Labour MPs and workers lose their representation?
Answer that. In NTUC, we are all very clear. We have a symbiotic relation with the PAP. On May Day, you will know the three cheers at the end of every May Day rally: Majula Singapura, Majula NTUC, Majula PAP. So that's the reality. It is not something to be taken for granted. That symbiotic relationship is not written anywhere in any constitution, in any rules in NTUC. You might know that in the past, SATU was the big union, and SATU is aligned with the opposition, not with PAP. But at the end of the day, PAP won the elections, 59, and NTUC came up, became the labour movement that has a symbiotic relationship with PAP. The test of that is really, through this symbiotic relationship, did workers benefit over the years, or did they suffer over the years? And I think you ask any union leaders in NTUC, workers have benefited tremendously in the last 50 years. Investments have come in, jobs have improved, wages have gone up. Why? Because there was a close relationship between labour movement and the government, and together with the employers, they work together in a constructive tripartite relationship. If we decide that our job as labour movement is to have strikes, be against the government all the time, then I think we are no longer a good investment destination. Jobs will be destroyed, as in the 50s and in the 60s that many older Singaporeans have seen. So ultimate test is have workers' lives improved, and workers' lives is improved, which is the reason why in NTUC, year after year, term after term, the labour union leaders in NTUC, elected by workers, continue to support the symbiotic relationship with PAP.
Desmond?
I think for Labour MPs, even though it's a very broad term, each one of us, although we're guided by the fact that we fight and we speak for the workers, we also understand and reflect the different backgrounds we come from and the different workers we served. Say, for example, I'm very much involved in the youth development unit, which is younger workers. We have about 160,000 younger workers as members with us now. I also represent the security employees. Before there was support workers. I think we bring about diversity of views, without which we cannot present them in a meaningful way. Say, for example, for the younger workers. Younger workers now are different from the more mature workers that we have. They have their own thinking. They have their own ways of making sure the industry grow. Say, for example, I have this, I think I always use this, but in PSA, we used to have this 8-hour shift. And 8-hour shift was it evolved from last time, very many years ago. We've always been having 8-hour shift. But the younger workers said, hey, 8-hour shift means that we really have very little time to ourselves, no off days. So I said, let's not go for a 12-hour shift. Let us work hard and play hard so we can have more off days. PSA changed, they switched, and the younger workers enjoyed the thing. They see productivity growth. And this is what we represent, that where younger workers have new creative ideas, for me personally, of course I cannot speak for the other Labour MPs, I will speak for them on that front, and this is what I represent. And especially things that now got to do with low-wage workers. A lot of my security employees are part of that, and this is what I look into as well. But for all Labour MPs, nothing has changed, which is that workers remain first and foremost, and that is what we will speak for them in the Parliament.
May I just say something about this as well? I was listening to the BBC the other day, and they were talking about Germany. And they interviewed someone who was British, but who was working in a German company. And some of you may have heard this particular episode. And he said one of the things that they have in Germany, in his company that he's, I think, the CEO of, is union representatives on the supervisory board. So you can ask the same question, when does he stop being a union representative and when does he become a board member, and are they opposed to each other? But, and this is an interesting observation from this British gentleman who is working in this German company, he said that actually they're all working on the same side. They're all trying to do the best for the company so that they can do the best for the workers. And it may take a little bit more time to discuss and negotiate and get the ideas across, but in the end, he feels that the outcome is a better one, and that the interests of the company, the interests of the workers, are better taken care of in that way, because they see themselves as on the same side, and they know that their interests are taken care of, and they know that they have a seat on the table.